I found my wife's engagement ring in my best friend's car last Tuesday. Not a ring that looked like hers. Her actual ring with the inscription I had engraved inside it. The problem is she's been wearing what I thought was her ring every single day for the past 3 months. I still don't know which ring is real or if I'm losing my mind. My name is Nathan and I've been married to Emma for 7 years. We met through work. She was in accounting at my company. Seemed nice. Quiet. We started dating after running into each other at a few happy hours. Got married 2 years later. Small wedding. Nothing fancy. Emma's always been particular about things. Likes her routine. Gets upset when plans change unexpectedly. I thought it was just her personality. Organized. Type A. My best friend Jake said she seemed controlling, but I told him he didn't understand her. Jake and I have been friends since high school. Played on the same basketball team. Went to different colleges but stayed close. He moved to the same city as me about 5 years ago. Lives maybe 10 minutes away. His girlfriend Lauren is nice. We all hang out together pretty regularly. Or we did until I found the ring. It started maybe 4 months ago. I noticed Emma was being weird about her phone. Would take it with her to the bathroom. Keep it face down on the table. Once I walked into the bedroom and she quickly closed whatever she was looking at. Said it was a surprise for my birthday even though my birthday had passed 2 months earlier. I didn't think much of it at the time. Maybe a little. But not enough to do anything about it. Then there was the night she said she was going to her book club. Came home at 11:30. Her book club usually ends around 9. I asked about it. She said they'd gone out for drinks after. That made sense. Except when I did laundry the next day her clothes smelled like cigarette smoke. Emma hates cigarettes. Won't even stand near people who smoke. I asked her about it. She said someone at the bar must have been smoking nearby. Seemed reasonable. But it bothered me. Just a little nagging feeling I couldn't shake. A few weeks after that I was working from home. Emma had left for the office around 8. I was making coffee around 9:30 when I realized she'd left her laptop on the kitchen table. She always brings her laptop to work. Always. I called her to let her know but she didn't answer. Figured she was in a meeting. Then I noticed the laptop was open. Screen was dark but it was definitely on. I touched the trackpad and it lit up. She hadn't logged out. Her email was open. I know I shouldn't have looked. I know that. But I did. Scrolled through her inbox. Most of it was work stuff. Boring emails about budgets and spreadsheets. Then I saw an email from someone named Jay. The subject line was just, "Tonight." Opened it. The email said, "Can't wait to see you tonight. Same place. Sent 3 days ago." Emma had replied, "Yes. 8 p.m. I sat there staring at that email trying to figure out what it meant. Could have been innocent. Could have been a friend. But why wouldn't she mention it? And who was Jay? I checked the sent folder. Found a few more emails to Jay over the past month. Nothing explicitly bad. Just meetup times and places. One said, "Had fun last time. Let's do it again soon." Emma had replied, "Absolutely." My stomach felt weird. Like I'd eaten something bad. I closed the laptop and went back to work. Or tried to. Couldn't focus. Just kept thinking about those emails. When Emma came home that night, I asked what her plans were for the rest of the week. She said nothing special. Just work and maybe a yoga class on Thursday. Didn't mention meeting anyone. I asked if she had any book club stuff coming up. She said not until next month. So she was lying. Or at least not telling me something. I started paying more attention after that. Noticed she'd leave the house some evenings saying she was running errands. Would come back 2 or 3 hours later with maybe one shopping bag. Once she came back with nothing at all. Said she couldn't find what she was looking for. I asked Jake about it one night when we were watching a game at his place. Told him Emma had been acting strange. He asked what I meant. I explained about the late nights and the vague excuses. He got quiet. Then he said maybe I should talk to her about it. That seemed obvious but I didn't know how to bring it up without sounding paranoid. Jake suggested I could check her phone if I really wanted to know. I said that felt like a violation of trust. He said she might already be violating my trust. That shut me up. The next time Emma was in the shower, I picked up her phone from the nightstand. Tried her passcode. It didn't work. She'd changed it. We'd always known each other's passcodes. For emergencies. Now hers was different. That felt like confirmation of something. Don't know what exactly, but something. I was sitting in my car outside a client's office 2 weeks after finding those emails when I decided to pop the hood and check the oil. My car had been making a weird noise. Thought maybe it was running low. Opened the hood and there it was. Small black device attached to the underside of the hood near the battery. Rectangular. Had a little antenna. Pulled it off and looked at it. GPS tracker. The kind you can buy online for $50. My first thought was someone was stalking me. Then I realized the only people who had access to my car were Emma and Jake. Emma's car was in the shop last month for almost a week. She'd been using mine. Plenty of time to install a tracker. But why would she need to track me? I'm not doing anything wrong. I go to work, come home, play basketball with Jake on Thursdays. That's basically my entire life. Unless she was tracking me to make sure I was where I said I was, so she could do whatever she was doing without getting caught. I sat in my car holding this tracker trying to figure out what to do with it. Thought about confronting Emma. Thought about throwing it away. Then I had a different idea. Stupid idea maybe, but I did it anyway. Drove to a truck stop about 20 miles away. Found a semi with Canadian plates. Driver was inside getting food. I attached the tracker to the underside of his truck. Then I drove home. Wanted to see what would happen. If Emma was tracking me, she'd see me suddenly driving north toward Canada. How would she react? Would she call panicking? Would she make up some excuse to explain why she was checking my location? Got home around 6. Emma was in the kitchen making dinner. Acted completely normal. Asked about my day. I told her it was fine. We ate dinner. Watched TV. She didn't seem worried or confused or anything. Went to bed around 10. I was lying there next to her wondering if I'd been wrong. Maybe the tracker wasn't from her. Maybe I was being paranoid about nothing. Then my phone rang. 2:47 a.m. Emma's phone. Except Emma was asleep next to me. I looked at the caller ID. It said Emma Mobile, but her phone was on her nightstand. Charging. Not making any calls. I answered it. There was breathing on the other end. Then a voice. Emma's voice. Said, "I know where you are." Hung up. Sat there in the dark trying to understand what had just happened. Looked over at Emma. She was still asleep. Or pretending to be. Her phone screen was dark. It hadn't made that call, which meant someone else was using her phone. Or a clone of her number. Or I was having some kind of mental breakdown. Got out of bed and went to the kitchen. Poured water. Stood there trying to think logically. Walked back to the bedroom. Emma was sitting up now. Asked where I went. I said I couldn't sleep. She said she couldn't either. Noticed I looked stressed. Asked if everything was okay. I said yeah, everything's fine. She didn't look convinced but didn't push it. The next morning I called in sick to work. Emma left for her office around 8 like usual. As soon as her car pulled out of the driveway, I went through the house looking for anything unusual. Started in our bedroom. Checked all the drawers. Found nothing. Checked her closet. Looked through all her coat pockets and purse collection. In a small purse she rarely uses, I found a second phone. Cheap flip phone. The kind you'd buy at a convenience store with prepaid minutes. Opened it. Recent calls showed my number from 2:47 a.m. Text messages were mostly deleted, but one was still there. Sent to a number I didn't recognize. Said, "He left. Going now." Sent 2 days ago around the time I'd been at my client meeting. I sat on the closet floor holding this phone trying to piece things together. Emma was tracking my location. Using a burner phone to communicate with someone. Meeting up with someone she called Jay in emails. Lying about where she was going. My best friend Jake kept saying maybe I should hire someone to follow her. Find out what she's actually doing. I told him that seemed extreme. He said finding a tracker in your car seemed pretty extreme too. I didn't want to believe Emma was cheating. Didn't want to think about it. But what else explained all this? Called a guy I knew from college who'd become a private investigator. His name was Martin. We'd lived in the same dorm freshman year. Stayed in touch on social media but hadn't actually talked in years. I sent him a message explaining the situation. He called me back within an hour. Martin said he could look into it. Asked for photos of Emma. Details about her schedule. Her car make and model. I gave him everything. He said he'd start surveillance and get back to me within a few days. I felt guilty about it. Like I was betraying Emma by having her followed. But she was hiding something. I needed to know what. 3 days later Martin called. Asked if I could meet him. Said he had information but wanted to share it in person. We met at a coffee shop across town. Somewhere Emma would never go. Martin looked uncomfortable when I sat down. Said he had photos to show me. Pulled out his phone and started scrolling. The first photo was Emma walking into a restaurant. Nothing weird about that. Second photo was Emma sitting at a table. Across from her was Jake. My Jake. My best friend Jake. I stared at that photo, asked when it was taken. Martin said yesterday afternoon. He had more. Showed me another photo of them leaving the restaurant together, getting into Jake's car, driving to a hotel about 30 minutes outside the city. Martin showed me a photo of them going into a hotel room together. Said they stayed for 2 hours. Came out separately. Emma left first. Jake waited 20 minutes then left. I sat there not saying anything, just looking at these photos. Martin asked if I was okay. I said I didn't know. He showed me more. Photos from the past 3 days. Emma and Jake meeting 4 different times. Always somewhere outside our usual area. Always during times when I was at work or when Jake was supposed to be at the gym or running errands. Martin said he'd also pulled phone records. The number texting Emma from the burner phone was registered to a prepaid account. Untraceable. But the timing of calls matched up with when Jake said he was busy or unavailable. I asked Martin how long he thought this had been going on. He said based on the patterns he'd observed probably at least a few months. Maybe longer. I paid Martin for his work. Thanked him. Drove home. Emma wasn't there yet. Wouldn't be for another hour. I sat in my car in the driveway trying to process everything. My wife was cheating on me with my best friend. They'd been tracking my movements to coordinate their meetings. The paranoia I thought was me being crazy was actually justified. Everything made sense now. Except one thing. The ring. I still hadn't figured out the ring thing. I went inside and directly to Emma's jewelry box on her dresser. Opened it. Her wedding ring and engagement ring were sitting in their usual spot. She wasn't wearing them today. Sometimes she didn't if she was doing housework or dishes. I picked up the engagement ring. Looked at the inscription inside the band. Forever N&E, followed by our wedding date. Everything looked right. Put it back. Then I remembered. 2 weeks ago Jake asked if he could borrow my car to move some furniture. His girlfriend Lauren was redecorating. I said sure. He had my car for most of Saturday. That's probably when Emma installed the tracker. But I'd returned the favor. Borrowed Jake's car last week when mine was getting inspected. He'd left it parked in my driveway with the keys in the visor. I'd used it for maybe 2 hours. Returned it the same day. I'd been looking for my sunglasses when I opened his glove compartment. Found a ring box. Thought maybe he was planning to propose to Lauren. Didn't think much of it. But now I was wondering. Called Martin back. Asked if he could meet me one more time. He said sure. We met at the same coffee shop an hour later. I told him about the ring box in Jake's car. Martin said he could check it out. Said he had ways of getting into cars without breaking anything. Martin called me that night. Said he'd checked Jake's car. Found the ring box. Took photos. Sent them to my phone. The ring in the photos was Emma's engagement ring. I was certain. Same style. Same diamond cut. I could even see the edge of the inscription though the photo wasn't clear enough to read it. Which meant the ring in Emma's jewelry box was fake. A copy. But why would she need a copy unless she'd given Jake the real one? And why would Jake have her ring? Unless they were planning something bigger than just an affair. I called Martin and asked him to keep investigating. Specifically to look into any financial movements, property transfers, anything that seemed unusual. He said he'd check it out. 2 days later Martin called me back. Said he'd found something interesting. 3 months ago, Emma had started moving money out of our joint account into a personal account I didn't have access to. Small amounts at first. 500 here. 1,000 there. Nothing that would be immediately noticeable. Over 3 months she'd moved almost $40,000. Martin also found that Emma had been looking into property values for our house, checking recent sales in our neighborhood, looking up divorce asset division laws for our state. She was planning to leave me, take money, probably try to get the house too. I asked Martin what I should do. He said I needed a lawyer, that documenting everything was crucial. Evidence of the affair, evidence of the financial transfers, photos, recordings if possible. I hired a lawyer, woman named Patricia. She specialized in divorce cases involving infidelity and asset hiding. I showed her everything Martin had found. She said I had a strong case. That Emma would likely get nothing if we could prove she was stealing marital funds and committing adultery. Patricia said the best thing to do was act normal. Don't let Emma know I know anything. Gather more evidence. Build an ironclad case. Then serve her with papers when she least expects it. So that's what I did. I went home and pretended everything was fine. Emma asked about my day. I said it was good. We made dinner together. Watched a movie. I was screaming inside but kept my face calm. Over the next 2 weeks, I documented everything. Every time Emma left the house, I noted where she said she was going and when she returned. I installed a small voice recorder in my car, another in the living room, hidden cameras in the bedroom and kitchen. All legal according to Patricia since it was my house too. The recordings were damning. Emma on the phone with Jake discussing when I'd be out of town next. Making plans. Laughing about something I'd said that morning. Talking about how much longer they had to keep up the charade. One recording caught Emma telling Jake about the money she'd been moving. Said she had almost enough. Just needed a bit more time. Jake said they should wait until after my birthday next month. That way it wouldn't seem suspicious when she suddenly asked for a divorce. My birthday. She was planning to wait until after my birthday to leave me. Probably to avoid looking heartless. To make it seem like she'd tried. I also found out why Jake had her real ring. They were planning to pawn it. Use the money to help fund their new life together. Emma had bought a fake replacement so I wouldn't notice it was gone. She was going to lose the fake one at some point. Make a scene about it. Then use the insurance payout for even more money. Everything was calculated. Every move planned. Nothing was spontaneous or accidental. I showed all of this to Patricia. She said it was perfect. Better than perfect. Said we could serve Emma anytime I was ready. But I didn't want to just serve papers. I wanted everyone to know what she'd done. What they'd both done. I came up with a plan. It was petty. Maybe cruel. But I didn't care anymore. My parents had been asking me to come visit. They lived about 3 hours away. My dad's birthday was coming up. They wanted to have a family dinner. I told Emma about it. Suggested we go. Make a weekend out of it. She seemed hesitant at first. Then I mentioned Jake and Lauren could come too. Make it a group thing. Emma's face lit up. She said that sounded fun. I texted Jake. Told him about the trip. Said it would be good for all of us to get away. He agreed immediately. Said he'd clear his schedule. The plan was coming together. I also invited Emma's parents. Told them I was planning a surprise for Emma and wanted them there. They said they'd come. Asked what the surprise was. I said they'd find out when they got there. That Friday we all drove up to my parents' house. Emma and I in my car. Jake and Lauren following in Jake's car. Emma's parents drove separately and arrived an hour later. My dad's birthday dinner was Saturday night. My mom cooked a huge meal. Pot roast and potatoes and all the sides. Everyone was in good spirits. Talking and laughing. Emma sat next to me holding my hand. Jake was across the table telling some story about work. Lauren was showing my mom photos of their apartment renovation. After dinner my dad opened presents. Got some new tools and a watch he'd been wanting. Then he made a toast. Thanked everyone for coming. Said how happy he was to have family all together. I stood up. Said I had something I wanted to share. Everyone looked at me. Emma squeezed my hand. Smiled. I pulled out my phone. Connected it to my parents' TV via Bluetooth. My dad looked confused. Asked what I was doing. I said I wanted to show everyone something important. Press play on the video file I'd prepared. Martin had helped me edit it together. Photos and video footage of Emma and Jake. Time-stamped. Dated. Audio recordings of their conversations about leaving me. Text messages discussing their affair. Bank statements showing Emma moving money. The room went silent as the video played. It was maybe 10 minutes long. Felt longer. When it ended, I looked around the table. Emma was white. Completely pale. Jake's mouth was hanging open. Lauren was staring at Jake with this expression of pure betrayal. My parents looked shocked. Emma's parents looked like they might be sick. I turned to Emma. Told her I knew everything. That I'd hired a private investigator. That I had proof of the affair and the financial theft. That she wasn't getting a penny from me. That Jake could have her. Emma started crying. Saying it wasn't what it looked like. That I was misunderstanding. I asked her to explain the recordings of her discussing leaving me. Explain the $40,000 she'd moved. Explain the fake ring. She couldn't. Just kept crying. Jake tried to speak. Lauren cut him off. Started screaming at him. Asking how long this had been going on. Did everyone know but her? Was she the idiot? He tried to say something but she stormed out. Got in their car and drove away. Jake just stood there. Emma's mom started yelling at Emma. Asking how she could do this. How she could betray her husband and throw away her marriage for a friend. Emma's dad looked like he wanted to leave but stayed seated. Just stared at his plate. My mom was crying. Asked me why I didn't tell them sooner. I said I wanted everyone to see the truth at the same time. Wanted them all to know exactly who Emma and Jake really were. I pulled out divorce papers from my bag. Patricia had prepared them, slid them across the table to Emma, told her she'd be hearing from my lawyer, that she could keep whatever clothes and personal items she wanted, but everything else stayed with me. The house, the cars, the bank accounts, all of it. Emma looked at the papers, then at me, asked where she was supposed to go. I said I didn't care. That wasn't my problem anymore. She could figure it out with Jake. They'd been planning a future together anyway. Here was their chance. Jake said we should talk about this, that things weren't as bad as they seemed. I told him to shut up, that he betrayed 20 years of friendship for what? An affair with my wife, that I never wanted to see him again. My dad stood up and told Jake to leave. Jake looked around for support, found none. He left through the back door. I heard his car start up a minute later. Emma was still sitting there crying. Her mom told her to get up. They were leaving. Emma looked at me one more time. I didn't say anything, just stared at her until she looked away. Emma's parents left with her that night. Didn't say goodbye to anyone, just took Emma and drove away. I stayed at my parents' house that weekend. They asked a lot of questions. I answered what I could, told them I'd found the tracker months ago, that the investigation had revealed everything, that I'd been planning this confrontation for weeks. My mom asked if I was okay. I said I didn't know, that I probably wouldn't be okay for a while, but at least it was over. At least everyone knew the truth. I drove home Sunday afternoon. The house felt different, empty. I walked through each room looking at things Emma had left behind. Clothes still in the closet, shoes by the door, her coffee mug in the sink from Friday morning. I packed everything into boxes, took them to Goodwill the next day. Didn't want any reminders. The divorce took 3 months to finalize. Emma tried to fight for her share of the house and accounts. Patricia demolished her in court, presented all the evidence of infidelity and financial misconduct. The judge awarded me everything. Emma got nothing except her personal belongings and her car. Jake's situation was similar. Lauren divorced him immediately, took half of everything. He tried to reach out to me a few times, left voicemails apologizing, saying he'd made a mistake, that he hoped someday I could forgive him. I deleted them all without listening to the end. Emma tried contacting me too, sent letters to my office, showed up at my parents' house once looking for me. My dad sent her away, told her she wasn't welcome. Last I heard, Emma and Jake tried to make it work, moved in together. Lasted about 4 months before that fell apart too. Turns out affairs don't usually translate well into real relationships. Emma moved back with her parents. They weren't happy about it but took her in. Jake moved to a different city, someplace out west. I don't know where exactly and don't care to find out. I sold the house 6 months after the divorce. Too many memories. Bought a condo downtown. Smaller, easier to maintain. Started over. My parents still ask if I'm dating anyone. I tell them not yet. Maybe eventually. Right now I'm just trying to figure out who I am without Emma, without Jake, without the life I thought I was building. The ring thing still bothers me sometimes. The real ring is probably in a pawn shop somewhere, bought by someone who has no idea about the inscription inside, about the marriage it represented, about how it ended up there. I think about getting it back sometimes, tracking down which shop Jake sold it to, buying it back. But that seems pointless. What would I do with it? Can't give it to Emma. Don't want to keep it. It's just a piece of metal now. Doesn't mean anything anymore. Martin still checks in occasionally, asks how I'm doing. I tell him I'm fine. He says if I ever need anything to call. I appreciate that. Nice to know someone's looking out for me. My friend group changed after everything came out. Some people took sides. Most were supportive. Few tried to stay neutral. Said it wasn't their business. I get that. But it's hard to be around people who still talk to Jake like nothing happened. I go to therapy now, twice a month. Talk about trust and betrayal and how to move forward. My therapist says I'm doing well considering that grief takes time, that there's no right way to heal from something like this. Some days are good. I wake up and don't think about Emma at all. Don't think about Jake. Just live my life. Other days I wake up angry, thinking about the tracker, the fake ring, the recordings of them laughing about keeping up the charade. Those days are harder, but I'm managing, taking it one day at a time, trying to build something new, something that's actually mine, something that can't be taken away by people I trusted. That's all I can really do.